This is the most unaffordable housing market that America has ever seen. Let's use this home as an example, which is the American dream for a lot of people like me and my fiance. We do pretty well for ourselves, we earn in the six figures, and we've always wanted this. But then this happened. $553,000 for this house. You may be thinking to yourself, well, that's not so bad. Let me show you. This home that was sold for $553,000, that was listed for $489,000, sold for $337,000 back in 2018. This home in 2025 with a $553,000 sale price, 6% down and a 6.5% rate, gives you a payment of $3,716. Back in 2018 with a $337,000 sale price, 6% down and a 4.5% rate, gives you a payment of $1,800. Which means to afford that home today, you need a household income of $230,000. When in 2018, you needed a household income of $100,000. Meaning that back in 2018, a couple with 2 entry-level jobs could have afforded this house. That's the issue that many people like me and my fiance are having. How is it that we have to earn more than twice as much money to do the same things that people used to be able to do just 5-6 years ago? One of the worst parts is we can't get any honesty around the situation. So if you want honest news around what's going on in the housing market, make sure you check out my newsletter in my link in bio called Pissed Off Buyer. And let me know in the comments what's happening with the housing market in your city. Like, follow, and comment for more.
You will likely never be able to buy a home. You're going to have to rent your entire life. And people are trying to deny the fact that it's harder now than it ever has been to purchase a home. We don't make enough money, we don't have enough money, we can't save enough money. The cost of rent is going up, the cost of living is going up, and our expenses are following suit. Now, there are some tips and tricks that you can use, but in reality, if you're not able to get ahead of the curve, you will likely be an all-time renter, meaning you will never own a home. This reality check is scary, but it just needs to motivate you to set yourself up to one day live your dream and buy a house.
Owning a house is the American dream, right? It means you actually have some skin in the game. Is it still considered the definition of success to say that you own your own home? People eventually will say, you know what, I can either continue renting or I can continue to just live a life where I'm not beholden to anyone.
And I do believe we are starting to see this gradually happen as we become more of a renter's nation. That to me is one of my greatest fears, because if you own nothing, you have no say. You have no voice. You don't have any opportunity to change anything in your life. I don't think I've ever felt more unsettled than when I saw the video in 2016 from the World Economic Forum saying that you will own nothing and be happy about it.
Let's go back in time to buy a house. In 1983, I'm an average person looking to buy an average house. I got this average degree, which I got for free, and work an average job. After paying tax and rent, if I save 50% of the remainder, it'll take me 2 years to save up for the 20% deposit. Remember that as we head back to 2023 and I'm still an average person looking to buy an average house, got this average degree, and I have an average job. After paying tax, rent, and HECS, if I save 50% of the remainder, it'll take me 10.5 years to save up for the 20% deposit. It's clear that it's not just lazy, layabout young people sipping latte that's causing the problem. It would take me 84 years to save up enough money if I skip having a latte every day just for the deposit. I don't have 84 years left. In 40 years, the average house price has increased by 14 times, whereas full-time salaries have only increased by 4.7 times. Another way of looking at it is houses used to cost 3 times your salary, and now they cost 10 times. All things being equal, you'd have to be making $300,000 a year to benefit from that same 3 times ratio. You might be thinking $90,000, wow, that's high. It is. That's because CEOs and vice chancellors taking home millions inflate the total pool of income and skew the average pie. If we look at the median, that is the figure in the middle of all figures, that's around 48,000. So if you're making more than that, you're making more than 50% of all working people in Australia. And still, housing is so far out of reach. There's something bigger at play here. And it's going to take me a bit longer than one video to explain. In part 2, I'm going to explain the cause. And part 3, the solution. If you haven't already, please hit all these buttons on the right hand side. And together, we're going to get to the bottom of this housing crisis and maybe we can fix it.
Do you know how much it costs to buy a house in the US right now? Just the median price. I'm going to give you a second to drop your guess in the comments before I tell you the answer. Okay, are you ready? It's more than $426,000. Now, that's probably not surprising to you if you ever look at the housing market. That actually seems kind of reasonable nowadays, right? Okay, now I'm going to ask you a second question. Do you know how much it cost to buy a house in the early 1970s? Do you know? $33,000. $33,000. You can't even get a car, like a new car, for that much right now. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $230,000, which is still so significantly less than $426,000, like almost half. So when people complain that younger generations aren't buying houses, this is why. There's no questioning of like, why aren't they buying houses? What do you mean? What do you mean? They can't afford houses. Not only that, younger generations can barely afford rent. Okay, in 1973, the average cost of rent was $133 a month. Now, adjusted for inflation, that's $913 a month. Do you know what the average cost of rent is now? Over $1,400. So when people talk about the affordability crisis, this is what we're talking about. And it's not just hitting the housing market, it's everywhere.
Millennials can't afford homes because you like coffee and avocado toast. Like, are you joking? I did the math, okay?
It's not the avocado toast.
Like if we went and got a coffee and bought a coffee every single day, roughly it works out to be about $1,800, $1,900 each year. Do you know where I can get a home for a down payment of $1,800 to $1,900? Because let me know if you do. This rhetoric that our little treats are what's holding us back financially is just false. And it's kind of what's keeping us playing small.
My solution to the housing crisis, a law, one house per person. That's it. So a couple can still have two, and each of their kids can even have a house. That's plenty, even for the rich people. And I know what you're going to ask. Well, if we get rid of so many real estate transactions, how will the people with the worst personalities I've ever met make money? I don't know. They're going to have to figure it out.
You don't need $40 an hour. You need to stop overspending. That's why you can't buy a house. For 99% of young people, it's not overspending. If you were to cut out Starbucks, Netflix, all of the fun, all of the dates, and you saved $5,000 a year, and you went to work, you came home and stared at a blank wall for 3 whole years, that's 15 grand. That would just cover closing costs on the average house. That doesn't even count for the down payment or the debt that you're trying to pay off. And the kicker here is you also need the income in order to qualify. This isn't 2019 where you could be earning $60,000 and buy and qualify for the average house. Today, you need about $120,000 to $150,000 to qualify for the average house. This is why the wages need to go up, because if you look at this realistically, do we honestly think that the rent prices are going to come down to $800? No. Are the housing prices, even with a crash, going to go down to $170? No. Is college going to become $5,000 a year? No. Is daycare going to become $200 a week? No. So the only rational thing for us to do is to raise the income for the average American so that they can even come close to affording all this.
Whatever you do, do not fall for the propaganda of owning a home. I grew up always renting, like we couldn't afford a home, so it was a big accomplishment that I was able to afford a home at 25. I didn't have a guidebook on how to own a home. So I learned really quickly that there's a lot of maintenance costs. There's a lot of hidden fees on top of your mortgage that you don't think about when you're renting. You have property tax, you have insurance, you have HOAs, and all of those increase over time. On top of maintaining your big appliances, which need maintenance, you're constantly maintaining it because your home, regardless of what you do, and if you keep it in perfect shape, it's going to wear and tear. There are going to be random cracks in the home. It just happens. But now, instead of having a landlord to call to fix your problems, you are that person that is accruing the cost, and you don't realize the amount it costs to fix these things is far more than in your rent. And yes, people talk about the equity. Listen, I know I have equity, but you can't touch the equity unless you sell your home. So if you're planning to live in your home, you're just basically doing a money pit. Like if I had to do my life all over again, the next time I buy a home, it's going to be with a partner because I'm not doing it by myself. Also, buying a home pigeonholes you to this spot. Like, get it, you can rent it out. I've done that before, but it was such a big headache for me. Sure, I could use a rental company, but they were just taking money from me at this point. I was like not even profiting. It was not worth the headache. In fact, I'm selling this place because I just feel like it is too much responsibility for me, and I don't want that. I want the flexibility to do whatever, be wherever I want to be.
My mortgage went up $1,000 and I am not okay. So let me tell you guys, for the longest time, people be screaming from the hilltop, home ownership is not it. Like, don't rush. And I will just be like, I don't understand it because I'm literally chilling, like cheaper than rent. I was bamboozled. So let me tell y'all what they do not tell y'all about real estate. So they do an analysis every year from, at least with the mortgage that I got, right? And so they did an analysis and basically my mortgage increased by $1,000. And I asked them why. And they were like, something about, my house is a new build. And so I guess they charged me for the taxes when it was just the land for 2 years. Then after year 2, they add the taxes with the house actually on it. And they were like, yeah, your builder is supposed to tell you. They didn't. They didn't. And so I asked them, can I sell the house? And they were like, there's no equity in it. I see me smiling, but come next month, I'm literally going to be in tears because $1,000 extra a month, I legit want to move back home and live with my parents. But I don't have that option. I'm sick. Like, I'm sick. Honestly, don't buy a house if you're single. Like, buy a house when there's 2 incomes coming in because, baby, you gonna need it.
Average everyday people, the era of homeownership, it's dead. The hurdles that people have to jump through. At this point, I think in 10 years, we will have almost exclusively renters.
My husband and I got a notice yesterday that our mortgage payment is going up almost $200.
I just got our rent renewal and it's going up by $300 a month.
I went to go pay my rent today and it increased by $400. I could barely afford my rent before.
My rent is going up an extra $800 a month. If this rental crisis wasn't already hell, it's about to get a whole lot worse.
We will never have affordable housing in this country again because people have built their wealth on real estate. We're all being taught to build wealth through real estate, but that directly leads to the housing crisis that we've been at for over a decade. People will need to lose their investments, lose value in the homes in order for us to have affordable housing.
Because it's creating essentially multiple generations of forever renters, but it's also locking people out of the most direct way for them to build generational wealth. Roughly 44% of the houses, single-family houses purchased last year were purchased by private equity firms. Single-family homes should be owned by families. And the fact that we are allowing industry to hoard a necessary resource during a crisis in that resource is absolutely unacceptable.
We have entire generations of people that are saying that they cannot afford homes, they cannot afford their basic needs. We have an entire generation of people that are not having children because they cannot afford them. The American dream has been dead and buried.
If anyone wants to know what it's like to buy a house, to buy your first house, if you think it's gonna be like super exciting and such a big accomplishment, fucking sucks. I feel confused, stupid, overwhelmed, and scared just about every single day. Last night I cried so hard that I think I died for a second, and then I was brought back to life by my dad screaming at me and telling me to get it together. I have to talk to people every single day, which is new for me because I work from home and I live alone and I usually don't have to talk to this many people. Or like be responsible to answer emails and text messages and the phone. It's way more expensive than anybody tells you. I was quoted like $3,500 and my mortgage is gonna end up being $6,000. There's a lot of moving parts and just like a million decisions that you have to make. And I guess I just definitely don't recommend this to anybody who's doing it alone. Like I've generally never felt more alone in my entire life. I just wish I had someone to go through this with, like help make decisions or just to double check things. I have the worst intuition. I'm so trusting of everyone. I'm just saying yes to everything and everyone because I don't know what else to do. I'm probably getting scammed left and right because I'm working with so many different people and making so many decisions every single day. It's just a lot. So I haven't cried today. That's good news. I have to take this class about becoming a homeowner by like Monday. Then I'm gonna go shop for appliances. Yay. Let me know if you guys want to see more of this stuff. I haven't really been involving you guys at all because it's just been kind of overwhelming and I've kind of been hating my life, but let me know.
I think I fully regret buying a house now. Like it's not the worst choice I ever made, but it's so expensive. But at the same time, it's exactly what rent would be costing me anyways. I'm almost an hour away from where I want to be and almost an hour away from work. It's a lot of upkeep, a lot of maintenance. I feel like the housing market could crash at any minute, and interest rates were high when I bought it, and so were prices. I rationalized it by telling myself, well, it's the same amount as rent, and I should get something back out of it at the end of the day, which honestly at this point might not even be true. And I'm far away from everything, and I have an hour-long commute, and I'm tired, and I'm in a 3-bedroom house, and I live alone. I'm thankful. I'm very thankful that I'm able to do this. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if it was the right choice, and I'm stressing over it right now. I've only been here for like 8 months. I don't know what to do.
Before I say anything, let's go over to the comments. I bought a house in Austin and I regret it daily, but it's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Am I the only person that thinks an hour commute is normal? Maybe it's more common than you think, but I don't want to be in that situation. It sounds like he doesn't either. Racking up the miles in the gas bill while commuting as well. And he did touch on this a little bit. I think there will be a very big difference in opinion if you decide to buy your house before COVID and after COVID. Obviously, it's a pretty good choice if you bought your house back in 2015 and saw all the appreciation in just the past few years, but that doesn't seem to be happening anymore, especially if you bought in 2021, 2022. You're just now most likely drowning in monthly payments. And another aspect of home ownership right here, a comment from you guys. People buying homes and not realizing there's maintenance cost involved is crazy. Whatever your mortgage payment is every month is the minimum you're going to pay.
In March, we're 0.4% compared to February. Now that's the second month in a row that we have seen gains.
My parents' house that is $195,000 back in '96 is now worth like $500,000 to $700,000. My children will never be able to have the life I live because I can't afford to do it.
I don't think any of us thought when we were growing up that owning a home would be a luxury. Like maybe we thought it would be a bit difficult, but not like a luxury that basically only the rich will be able to afford.
No one that works a full-time job should be facing homelessness. And that's what my family is facing right now.
Being completely radicalized by the rental housing market right now, I cannot believe that you can pay over $300 in non-refundable fees just to apply for an apartment.
A big part of the reason why social life here in America is getting more and more difficult has to do with the fact that nobody can afford decent housing.
Everybody in America kind of knows, like, it's over. Like, there will be no recovery. Like, this is not like the other times. This ain't like 2008 where, oh, we'll crash and then we'll get back up.
Because right now, this economy, this world is set up to make average American families fail.
And I'm appalled that our particular kind of capitalism not only fails to deal with the housing problem, but somehow routinizes it so that the homelessness is blamed on the homeless, blaming the victim kind of, because I can see why a society does it, because if you're such a failure at providing this basic human need, you better blame somebody, because otherwise you risk blaming yourself.